Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another Draw with me, and we are going to be drawing one of our characters today, and this is going to be Captain Christian. So let me just fix my camera here. Sorry about that. Yeah, and with Captain Christian, he is the captain of all of the Mighty Marvels, and you may have drawn him earlier before, and you may be familiar with him. But he's a character that is able to facilitate all of the other Mighty Marvel characters. So we're going to get into this. We're going to draw lightly. We're going to sketch, and our Mighty Marvels come out of Psalm chapter 139, verses 14 and 15, and it tells us that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. My soul knows that very well. And because our soul knows it very well, then we know that we have more value than what the world might be throwing at us. So our value comes from God. And whatever grade you're in, or if you're an adult, know that you are fearlessly and wonderfully made. So we know that. Captain Christian, he has a description that is in the YouTube description, but I also wanted to read it to us because Christian has his abilities, and his abilities is that he is the captain of the Mighty Marvels. He leads by example, and he's the only one who can fly. I think that's the coolest thing about Christian. He's the only one who can fly. His scripture comes out of Isaiah chapter 40, verses 29 through 31, and it says that he gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. Even youths grow weary and tired, or tired and weary, and young men stumble and fall. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. And that's Captain Christian. That's why he can soar. That's why he can fly, because he's just like that. He mounts up like wings of an eagle, and he's able to soar above the most difficult things. So let's get into our art. And you're going to have a difficult time drawing lightly. And I know that with sketching we have a difficult time drawing lightly. So the rule of thumb is this: when you're drawing or sketching, you're going to use your whole entire arm. And the reason why you use your whole entire arm is so that you can use your palm here to control the sketching, how light it's going to be. So I'm going to draw a little dark so that you can see what I'm doing, but you need to draw as light as possible. The reason for that is because you can always go darker, but you can never go lighter unless you erase. And when you're sketching, just putting things together and forming what you're drawing, you want to sketch. You don't want to draw the whole thing. You're just sketching, okay? So let's draw Captain Christian, and let's see where we go from here. So first thing you're going to do, Captain Christian has a big circular head. So draw very lightly, okay? So this is going to be his head. And we're going to draw kind of he's going to be maybe looking down a little bit, kind of at this angle. And almost ready to take flight. Like he's looking down, he's ready to take flight. So this is going to be his eyes, where his mask is going to be. And of course his nose is going to be here, and his mouth is going to be way down here. And of course his chin is somewhere down here. We'll see what that looks like. Now Captain Christian has his ears over here. And you may see some, so we're going to tuck it behind here, his other ear, and it's just a circle like this. And it's going to be right on the bottom of where his eyes will be. Let me bring it darker. Sorry about that, so that you can see it. I can lighten it later. Now you don't have to draw this many lines. I'm just sketching it in. Okay, and then his mask, it's going to be like an X. You know, it comes here and here, and it comes up like that and like that. So it has this shape to it. That's kind of his mask. Now, because his head is going to curl, his mask is actually going to come around his head like that. I know I'm drawing darker so you can see it, but Don't draw this dark. I'm just drawing it like this so that you can see it. His nose will actually be under here. His mouth will probably be open. So we'll open his mouth. And yeah, we're probably, you know, not sure what it's going to look like, but we'll get his mouth to be open like he's in action. So we'll see from there what that's going to look like. It's going to be kind of weird, but that's why we sketch. Okay? And you can move your paper around if you need to make it more comfortable. He does have his hair. So his hair comes up like this, and he has some spikes, and then it swoops around like that. So his hair comes in like this. He has like a big wave of hair. And then of course it comes on the side of his ear, and it connects right here. So he has another hair here, and you can put like maybe one or two little spikes like that on the side, and then the other side is going to come here, his hair, and that side. If I'm going too fast, you can always pause so that it's a little slower for you. Actually, his ears are going to come down here. It looked a little too high. That's why we sketch. So that's the basic sketch of Christian. I'm going to pull up another layer, and this is where you can draw darker because you're going to outline. Wait, let me just finish this part first. I should have finished this. This is going to be the inside of his mask. So this is just the guideline of where his mask is going to be. But he does have the inside of his mask. So you're going to draw the inside of his mask like that, because that's where his eyes are going to be. And his mask is kind of thick. And you have like this part for the bridge of his nose. This is going to come up, and that's going to be his mask. And if it's looking confusing to you, that's because I'm drawing dark so you can see it. But I should be drawing very lightly. This should be a little shorter. In fact, his mask might be way too long. Hopefully we can fix that in our inking process. So I'll do it like this. I'll take this down. So it's going to be here. It's going to scoop up like that. It's becoming very, very messy. But we're gonna fix that. So you have a basic idea of what his mask is gonna look like. So I'm gonna lighten it so that we can see our inking. So the inking part, that's why you draw very, very lightly. Your sketch should look this light. That's what it should look like. It should look that light. So that when you bring in the inking, and I'll start with his mask because this looks a little difficult. And it's gonna come up this way. It's gonna come to a point. Same thing on that side. That's kind of thick. Let me change the thickness of my ink. Let's see if this is, that should be good. Okay, so it's gonna come up like that. Comes to a point here. And then it's gonna be the top part. This back part underneath. It's gonna curve up and come across the bridge of his nose, and then it's going to come down. So if you look at the angle, you want it to come down at that angle right here, and it comes up. This one comes up too, comes across and down. So that's kind of the basic structure of his mask, and you want it to curve up and down because it is wrapping around his face. And even this part is coming up to this point because it's kind of on the underside of his brow. Same thing with this one. You're going to come up and just finish off the inside. And if this side if this side right here is here, you should draw that first actually, and then you can ink that part. That way you have a reference point to come to. And right here I need to clean this up. So that's going to be his mask. You can draw in his nose, and his nose is just a quick, it's almost like just a quick curve. Let me draw that again. It's from down to up, just a quick curve. His mouth, you can draw his smile line, and maybe we'll draw it like this. His mouth will be open, drop down, curve it, and then bring it like that. Bring his tongue like that. And then what we're going to do is draw his ear and connect his ear to the bottom part where his chin will be. So just like that. So his mouth is wide open. And his cheek is going to be right there. And his ear is going to be right behind where his head, where his forehead is going to be. So his ear should come right around here. So not too much popping out, just a little bit, because it's actually tucked behind. So that's, you can even make his ear a little smaller. So it's going to be like that. Now his hair, this is the fun part, because his hair is pretty big, comes to a point like that. So his hair is kind of spiked. Now this is the part that's going to be a big swoop. I missed that line, so that's the hard part. That's okay. We can always fix it and make it better. So if you make a mistake like that, not a problem at all. You're going to make it better and fix it. So his hair, 2 spikes here, 1, 2. And then you just connect it right there. And just follow your sketching. In fact, I could have brought this hair a little bit in like this. Instead of drawing that, I could have made this spike a little smaller and then connect it here like that. So you can do it how you need to. And then we're going to bring in, and the way you can correct something like that is just draw your lines thicker. So let's just say I draw this thicker, and almost like just on the outsides, draw it thicker. Then I can draw this line thicker to correct that inside part. And when you do that, then you can enhance other parts to make your drawing look. And I'm just doing this to show you how to fix mistakes that you may have made. So you're going to draw some thick lines and some thin lines. Just like that. You can even do that on the mask. Bring it down like that. Yeah, so if you feel like you made a mistake, just figure out a way to fix it and you'll be okay. Now we're going to bring in some shadowing. And this is where you need to know your light source. So if your light source is coming from this direction, then you know all the shading is going to be on this side of your drawing. So right here would be all the shading on this side of the head. Now you can use a gray because his hair is going to be white. And that way you can shade in those areas. I'm using a gray or a really, like a light tone. And remember where those shaded areas will be according to your light source. Always remember the light source and study shadows, study shading, look at shadows that surround you. At 12 o'clock in the day, if you're standing outside, you're not going to really see your shadow because if the sun is right over you, then the shadow is right below you. But if it's like 3 o'clock, or right now is close to 3, and then the sun is coming from this direction, And you can see on this side is dark. This side is light. And that's what you're trying to do. All you're doing is working on dark and light. And just keep practicing shading. You'll get it. It'll come to you. You'll be able to see it. And then when you take a look at your drawing, you're going to be able to see, oh, I should have done it like that, or I could have done that part better, or okay, that shading doesn't work. And just keep learning. Just keep fixing what you can. And don't worry about making the mistakes. Like with anything, if you want to get better at it, you have to be willing to make the mistakes so that you also know what not to do. So be okay with making the mistakes. Just don't try to make mistakes on purpose. That's not called making a mistake. That's called something else. So all in this area is going to be where the shadowing is. This area too, because that's where the sun or the light source is coming from. This side, bottom of the chin, right here, a little bit right there, under the nose, under the mouth area right there. This part of the face, this part of the ear, inside of the ear, just like that. This side of the hair, because the sun or the light source is coming from that top part, and because his hair is big, it's going to cast a big shadow there. Okay, how are we looking? Looking good. Okay. Maybe I'll put some shading in here too. Just because the mask is thick and you want to show the thickness of the mask and that there's depth. It's amazing what has shadows or shading. Sometimes the smallest things we don't realize, but it has shadows, like this pen, or this Apple Pencil is called. There's shading, there's light on this side and then shading on this side. And you can see with the clip, there's shading on it too. So study light and shading. Oh, his forehead is really big. I should have curved his hair. In fact, that's what I missed on the inking part. I should have. There you go. I forgot to add in his side. I was wondering, why does it look so weird? Yeah, so if something looks weird to you, figure out what it is and fix it. Okay, let's go with the coloring. Where's Christian's colors? We have all these different palettes. I should have pulled it up so I was ready for it. Wasn't ready for it. Okay, so Christian, his hair is white. His mask is this red. So let's go to it's called flats, so color flats. His tongue is going to be red too. And you can color in, if you're using a color crayon or pens, color it in. You can use a Sharpie pen to outline. I should have told you that earlier. Or darker with your pencil. I'm assuming you know the tools, but I should also double check. And then on the inside of his mouth it's kind of dark. So we're going to put in like a dark purple. Just on the inside of his mouth like that. He has a flesh tone for his skin. Drop that in. And then for his eyes, they're white. And that should be it. Then we can take off the sketch. Forgot this ear. His flesh. Like that. Now you can bring in some more highlighting. And let's just say in this area, if you're able to do that, if you're able to use a white, then all I'm doing is just highlighting where the light would touch or reflect from or bounce off of. So those are just some areas. Of course, on the tongue, you're going to have some highlights. On the ear, you're going to see some of that, even on that one. But yeah, you're just touching up certain areas with highlights. The hair is already white, so there's not really much of highlights on there. And that's Christian. I could have drawn his body, but just to save on time, just so that you can get an idea of how to draw the angle of Captain Christian. But I hope you enjoyed it. I know I went by really quickly, and I know I can improve on certain things when I look at it now. But we'll get there. I hope you enjoyed your time. I'll leave it up here for just a little while. And always remember that you are fearlessly and wonderfully made. Marvelous is His work, and our soul knows it very well. Thanks for joining me today, and always stay marvelous. I'll see you soon.